And today, people across our state are relieved after insurance company executives reversed a controversial policy. Anthem had planned to limit the amount of time that anesthesia could be used during surgery. But company leaders have backtracked now after public pressure. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Owen Kingsley joins us now live in Hartford with those details. What can you tell us, Owen?
Good morning, Roger. Yeah, just yesterday, State's Comptroller Sean Scanlon, he got on the phone with Anthem, Blue Cross and Blue Shield and got them to back down from that proposed policy change. Scanlon, he controls and oversees health insurance coverage for hundreds of thousands of state employees and their families. The policy would have covered Anthem's plans in Connecticut, New York, and Missouri. It would have limited the use of anesthesia during surgeries and medical procedures. The only exclusions were for those under 22 years old and maternity care. The big concern was this could have resulted in denials of coverage for patients who may need more anesthesia because their surgery was difficult, unusual, or if there was a complication. Anthem quietly announced this new policy last month and has since been criticized by anesthesiologists.
We have to give anesthesia for as long as the case takes. If, for example, someone needs a gallbladder out and they're young and healthy, it might take 45 minutes. If they're older and sicker, it might take 2 or 3 hours.
In a statement, Anthem yesterday said that there has been widespread misinformation about an update to their anesthesia policy. They did not specify what information they believed was false, but said that that policy would have never denied a claim for anybody who needed necessary anesthesia services. Live in Hartford, I'm Owen Kingsley, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Owen, thank you.